Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi-Thorin Alliance. In today's video, we're going to do something a little bit different. Some debates versus discussions. And so we can, because it's only me and Luke and there's not a third person to decide who wins, we're going to debate what the topic is, and we're going to let the audience decide. So if you can let us know who wins, that'll be most appreciated. I'll be on the dark side and Luke will be on the light side. So if you can, like and subscribe, and yeah.
So what's the topic we're debating today, Jacob?
Binge watching versus weekly, and to decide who goes first, we'll be doing scissors, paper, rock.
So you're going to be on the side, you're arguing that you like binging, and I'm going to argue about that I prefer, because I think it's the right way to do things. I like watching things when they come out weekly. So we'll do scissors, paper, rock to see who goes first. Scissors, paper, rock. Okay, you go first.
So why I think binging is better is because it gives you more choices. I think the way that Netflix does is formula. It gives you more options. You don't have to watch the show all at once. You can go, I'm going to watch 2 episodes tonight, or I'm going to watch, it gives you more freedom to how you want to watch the show. And with how it gives you more options with how to do things, because binging, it gives you more freedom, because if one episode comes out, you have to be patient for the following week. Well, it's fine, but sometimes it's good to finish that show so you can move on to the next show. And I'll admit, certain shows aren't really good for binging, and some shows are better for weekly, but I just think the format that Netflix does it for is better with binging, because it started the whole binging thing. What I think is better because it gives you more freedom. So
okay, I'm not gonna lie, I do like to watch binging shows, but I get more excited about when things come out weekly. It's funny because I like it because I'm busy, and you think, oh, if you're busy, wouldn't you like to be able to choose when you want to watch something? But what happens is, when things come out in a bulk lot, I end up forgetting to watch them, or I feel like I have too many shows that are overwhelming. But when something comes out on a certain day of the week, I love looking forward to it. I love planning around it. It just gives me a reason to watch it. So recently, when WandaVision and Falcon the Winter Soldier came out on a Friday, I loved knowing that Friday nights I'm going to watch that. At the moment, I'm really excited because I know that there's the Mighty Ducks on Disney Plus, Big Shot, and then High School Musical, the musical series, all come out on a Friday night. So that's my Friday nights. I'm going to watch those 3 shows. And I like that that's what happens. And I like on Tuesday, on Stan, I get a new episode of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I really like looking forward to that. And where if they all came out in one, I could watch them real quick. Yeah, that's fun. But then I have to wait 12 months for another lot of episodes to come out, or I then have to find a new show, and I think you set yourself up for disappointment, where if it comes out weekly, I know that when one series, Disney does it right. Other streaming services don't have the content. But at the moment with Disney, you finish a show and there's another one coming out, and hopefully that just continues to happen. But if you ever did run out of shows, then it wouldn't be affected. But I like that I don't feel like I'm drowning in episodes or I'm getting behind, because I know I've only got to watch 1 episode a week and I'm waiting for it, so I'm looking forward to it, opposed to here's a whole bunch of episodes. Because I won't get around to it, I'll find something else to do. I lose excitement, where I don't get overwhelmed with the amount of content. I just know I got to look forward to 1 episode a week.
Good points. Can I? Some parts I agree, but some parts I disagree. Can I just bring up one thing?
Yeah.
with One Division, did you watch it weekly or did you binge it?
I didn't binge it, but I didn't also watch it weekly because I started watching it after it came out, but I reckon I watched an episode a night for about 8 nights. So in saying that, it was binged quicker than the way it was released, but I didn't watch it episode after episode. And I guess that was me trying to catch up. But if I wasn't forced to watch it because I knew that a new show was coming out, Falcon the Winter Soldier, I probably would not have even watched it because I'd already felt I'd missed the boat. Like they'd already released all the episodes had already came out and I hadn't watched it, and it was overwhelming. Where if I started watching it the day it came out, then I wouldn't have felt the need to try and watch them in a shorter space of time. But yeah, I would be lying to say I've never binged a show. I've definitely binged shows, and it can be fun. I get excited when they come out weekly because I don't feel pressured to watch them quickly. I can just do my other things and then watch the show when they come out. Kind of like how free-to-air TV used to work, that you'd look forward to on this night of the week a new episode of this show would come out, and you'd plan your week's TV around it.
Guess that's fair points. When you said that no one has any content, wouldn't you say Netflix has plenty of content?
Oh, but there's not like new content coming out on a weekly basis. So, because Netflix like to dump all their shows, they release all the episodes at once. So where Disney are doing the opposite, they're bringing out weekly at a time. So yeah, I almost feel there's so much content with Netflix that all the stuff that's already been released, I'll probably miss the boat. Where if there was something they said, oh, next week this new show starts and there's going to be an episode that comes out every week, I'd probably gravitate to watching that because I wouldn't feel like, oh, it's too many episodes that have already came out, I'm going to miss it.
But like I said at the start, the thing that I'm kind of arguing or saying the positive thing with binging is that you can basically watch it in your own leisure. So you could do the same thing with how Netflix do it. You don't have to binge it the entire way. You could be like, I'm watching 2 episodes tonight. Next night I'll watch 1. It's more, the thing I prefer about Netflix is that it gives you the freedom when Disney Plus, they don't give you the freedom. It's like, we want you to be subscribed to our service because we're new and at the moment we can't beat Netflix, but eventually they'll topple Netflix because they kind of have 2 different points of view of how to do it. Netflix is more, we'll give you the content, but eventually that's gonna lose. But at the moment, I think it's a better way to do it with how Disney Plus, eventually they will stop how they'll do it because they'll have the subscribers. Eventually they'll change their format because how they're doing it is, I guess, smarter, but in a way it's more not giving their customers the choice, because it's like some shows are like, you know, you're giving us 1 episode when I would prefer to watch, you know, 1 a night and then can watch other show 1 a night.
I reckon that I'm sure there's partially Disney know that if they release things periodically,
people would unsubscribe.
That people are forced to subscribe longer. But I also think they might know that people get excited. Like, I don't know if they get excited, but it keeps you wanting to stay there. Like as much as you go, oh, like they get you to stay longer and they make more money, but it makes you want to be subscribed longer because you go, oh, there's a new thing coming up next week. There's a new thing, opposed to if they gave you all the episodes in one, you'd probably just unsubscribe from Disney and then resubscribe when something new came out. And I don't know. I think value for money. I look at Netflix. Wait for Obi to stop barking. Obi.
Better check who that is. Seems to be nothing. as you were saying?
I actually think that I feel like I get more value for money from Disney, even though I'm forced to subscribe, because I know that every week I'm getting something new. Where there's other streaming services that I subscribe to, like for instance Stan. I can't tell you the last time I watched something on Stan, but I keep the membership going anyway. Netflix, I haven't watched much on it, and I can't even think. Amazon Prime, I haven't watched anything in ages on there. I'm not one to unsubscribe. I'll keep them. So the fact that Disney is trying to keep me subscribed doesn't worry me, because I would still subscribe anyway. So I get the concept of its value for money, because I go, new episode of something this week, new episode. Where Netflix, I don't even know what's new on there. Like it's not giving me a reason to turn it on. And I think Disney, as much as it's to keep you subscribed, it makes you check the app. It makes you excited about things. Like I'm sure you would know what new shows are coming out on Disney. Like they tell you when it's coming. You get planned for it. You know. Like we've done trailer reactions to Loki. We're looking forward to it. Could you tell me a show that's coming out on Netflix in the next 2 months?
Cobra Kai. Eventually Ozark season 4.
Yeah, but again, we don't know when they are. They're sequels or like additional seasons to shows we already know. But Disney they've got this formula where they know that they get you excited. I actually think they tactically do the weekly release. I think that it's more also about money, but it gets people excited. I guess they can monitor how many views they get for a show. Because if they release it all at once and people binge watch it, it's hard to tell which episode was popular and which wasn't, because people watch them all in one hit. But they can check, they go, 20 million people watched this episode on Friday night, and 30 million people watched this episode the next Friday night, and they go, oh, this type of episode was more popular. Gives them something to work with. I don't know. I get excited about a weekly release. I do like binge watching shows, but I'm more excited, strangely, when a show comes out weekly, because to me it seems more important. If they're saying this show is so good, we don't want you to binge it. We want you to watch it. We want you to talk about it. We want you to make YouTube channels about it. We think our shows are good enough that you should be talking about it for a week, not just watching 10 episodes straight. And I think that's them backing their product, where I think Netflix sometimes go, we don't know if this show's any good, we'll just release it. Because they do have some shows they release periodically. I believe Riverdale, they released weekly. So there is shows that are popular that they release weekly. So there's something about it. I think it's depending on the popularity of a show, whether they do it in a large sum or weekly. Because think of a show like The Boys. You like The Boys?
Yeah.
Again, that's released on a weekly basis on Prime Video, but they don't release their other shows weekly. They reserve it for the popular shows, and I reckon there's a reason for that.
Well, Invincibles, they released weekly.
Yeah, which they obviously think is a good show. So I think they reserve it for the quality of show. So I think the reason Netflix released theirs in one hit is because their shows aren't as good.
Fair point, but I also think because Disney Plus doesn't have the, I don't want to say quality of shows, but not as many exclusives, they want to keep your attention when Netflix have, I guess they have good originals, but their more mindset is, we'll give you more originals so you can keep on watching more. So they basically have different point of view of how to treat their services, really.
I think Netflix as well. Most of the stuff on there isn't original, so they're buying it off someone else. It's already been made. All 10 seasons have been released periodically on free-to-air TV over the last 20 years or something, and then they go, here, now you can binge watch Friends again for the 10th time. So that's like they're releasing things that have been binged before. But I think any new content, if it's really good, I think they'll swap to weekly. If Netflix happen to get an amazing series that they possibly the last season of Ozarks might be released weekly. Like they may, it'd be interesting to see if they do that. Then that kind of proves the point that they are doing it to get people to continue to subscribe, or there's something about being weekly because it gets people talking. You go to work and did you see the episode of this? Or you go hang out with your friends. You go, did you see last week's episode of that? It builds up the talk. Because if you release it weekly, you go to your friends like, oh, did you see the whole season of this? And they're like, no, spoilers, I haven't watched it yet. Where if it's weekly, people feel the need to watch the one episode so they're not left behind. Because not everyone has the ability to binge watch.
I guess, but the problem sometimes with weekly is that you forget what happened in the previous episode. So you have to either have a good memory or watch like a recap or...
Well, that's what they do. They do a recap at the start of the episode.
Oh.
I don't know if the boys did or all of them did, but the shows on Disney have a recap. There's always like a 2 to 3 minute recap at the start of every episode. And then at the end, they give you a 1 minute sneak peek of the next episode. So it makes you get excited about it. There's no doubt that certain shows have the ability to binge, and there's obviously people that are impatient. Like whenever I see one episode of these shows that come out weekly, of course I want to see the next one. But I think if I had the option to watch it, I wouldn't like the show as much, because if there's only 8 episodes and they're 30 minutes each, you just sit there and watch it in one hit and you go, oh, well, now I've got to wait 1 more year for this show to come out. At least if you drag it out, so you watch WandaVision each week, and then you drag it out, and you have a week break, and then you got Falcon the Winter Soldier, and they drag it out, and then you're like, oh, cool, now there's this. And then like you always got something to look forward to. Where if they just brought them each out all in one hit, they bring out WandaVision in March, you watch them all in 2 days, then you wait another, 10 weeks, and they release all Falcon the Winter Soldier in one hit, and you watch it in 2 weeks. And then you have to wait 3 months, and you get Loki, and you watch it all in 2 days, and you're like, well, you lose that excitement of waiting for the next week's episode.
So you're arguing the excitement of waiting for episodes, when if you were binging as well, you could still have that excitement and watch and treat binging like you would weekly anyway.
I don't know how many people would have that self-control to go, I'm only going to watch 1 episode of this show every Tuesday night.
You can watch 1 or 2.
Yeah, I just get excited about weekly. I don't feel pressured to watch it. I feel like the show doesn't get behind. There's shows that get released all in one hit, and I forget to watch them, or they just get pushed to the wayside. Where these shows that are getting released weekly, I just don't miss them, because I'm like, okay, it's come this Friday, new episode of this, and I'm looking forward to it.
But is that the show's fault that you forget, or is that on you just forgetting because in your mindset you got a busy schedule, and then on weekly you're like, oh, I know it's coming out this day, when if you treat the show that you would normally binging weekly, you would be basically doing the same thing?
Well, I think because it's weekly, you get the reminder. You watch the episode, or someone tells you, or it comes up on the home screen. It says, next Friday, new episode of this. And then at the end of it, it goes, next week, this is preview for next week's episode. The show itself reminds you to watch it. Where if you, so there's plenty of shows you've recommended to me, and all the episodes are out, and I just go, oh, okay, when I get around to it. But when it's weekly, the app tells you, and I think that comes back to the quality of show. I think the higher budget, the better the show. They invest in it by advertising it. They bring it out weekly. They make you want to watch it. Yeah.
So you're saying that you need to rely on the app for it to be weekly, when you could possibly do it the same way on Netflix or any other app, but because, we all get busy, you forget. So that's why you're possibly enjoying Disney Plus, because at the moment they're enjoying that weekly format. So it sounds like you're preferring Disney Plus because they're preferring more your watching style.
Yeah. It's got to do with the shows. I like the shows better. I think, but the weekly thing for me, I'm just finding it exciting. If a show came out all in one hit and it was a show I was excited about, I'm not going to say, I wish this came out weekly. I would sit there and watch it because it's there. It's about self-control. But the fact they're coming out weekly, I don't think is a negative. So whether it's better or not, that's each individual preference. But people that get annoyed and say, oh, this sucks, it comes out weekly, I think they're missing the point. I think coming out weekly is an exciting thing. It gives you something to look forward to. And you don't overdo it. Sometimes you could watch 2 episodes, 3 episodes, and you miss something, so you got to go back and you might have to watch it again and waste time. Or you don't get the full experience that they want you to get. They want you to watch a show. They want you to talk about it. They want you and I to get together and go, oh, what did you think about last night's episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? What do you think is going to happen next episode? It gets that talking where if every episode's there's no wondering. You're like, what happens in the next episode? Oh, I'll just press play. I'll just watch it. You don't get to talk about it. They force you. Yeah, all you get to do is they talk about the whole season, and they know that. They would know that there's YouTube channels like your own that talk about each episode. So every thousands of views you get on a video is technically thousands of views for them because they are listening to you talk about their show. So they win by dragging something out. There's more to it than just subscribers. They know that it creates excitement. Because if you bring out 10 episodes, 1 a week, you got 1,000 YouTubers that are making videos about those episodes. That's 10 times 1,000 videos talking about that. Where if you bring them out in all one hit, how many YouTubers are going to go, oh, I'm going to do a video about each episode? They'll just binge watch the whole series and do a full recap of the series, and that's 9 less videos made by each YouTuber about that video. So it's all about numbers.
Good point. So if you had a choice with Cobra Kai or something, are you saying that Cobra Kai isn't as good show because they released that all at once?
Well, they released that because they bought it off YouTube and it had already been released. So it would make no sense to release something weekly that's already been out. That would just annoy people. It wouldn't make any sense. For the 3rd season, I don't know whether that came out weekly or all in one hit. I imagine it probably came out in one hit because it was their first original season of Cobra Kai. So they probably released it in one hit in conjunction with seasons 1 and 2. They probably dropped all 3 at the same time. So there's a tactic to it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the next season gets released weekly. If it gets released all in one hit, I'll probably watch it all in one to 2 sittings just because it's there. Why wouldn't I? But if it got released weekly, I'd be excited about that too. That'd give me something to look forward to for 10 weeks or 8 weeks, opposed to having something to be looking forward to. Like, I've been looking forward to season... By the time it comes out, it'll probably be a year that I've been looking forward to season 4. And to binge watch it in one day and the excitement to be over. Where I can have 10 weeks of excitement if a new episode comes out each week.
But you don't have to binge watch it. You can... That's what I'm kind of arguing. You can pace yourself. You can basically do what you want with binging.
Okay. But then that is the same thing then, isn't it? Then you're arguing against your own argument. Your argument's that binge watching's better, that you should watch it all in one hit.
No, with binging you can basically do what you want because they release it all at once. So you can basically watch 1, 2, you can plan it out. You can be like, I'm going to watch, if there's 8 episodes, you can watch 4 one night and then 4 the other night. It gives you more options. Releasing it equally, it's like, oh, I'll just watch 1, and then it's like, oh, what am I going to do with
Well, I think
that
the thing is, if a show's that good, you're going to want to watch it one after another, which is not the show's fault. That's great, but you lose that excitement. Like, I couldn't think of anything worse than looking forward to a show for a whole year and watching it, all episodes in a 4 hour time slot, and going, oh, well, that's it now. I've got to wait another year. Like, it's the more disappointment where if it drags on for 10 weeks, I get 10 weeks of excitement. I know you said you can watch it, but then everyone else has binge watched it, and then you've got to avoid spoilers everywhere. You got to not, like, you lose the fun of it. Like, you have to then dodge spoilers, where if it comes out weekly, you and I can talk about the show and get more excited about the next episode each time. Because the whole concept of like a season finale almost doesn't exist in binging when they get released. Like, there is a finale, but it doesn't build up to it. You don't get those, like, remember the ads that would be on free-to-air TV saying, oh, this week's season finale, what's coming? Who's going to die and who's going to live? Like, you don't get that hype of building up to what the last episode will be. So I think sometimes we could get disappointed because you could watch a series, and I've done this before. You just go, yep, next episode, and then you're on to the next season, and you're like, well, when was the season finale? You sometimes you don't even realize that a season ended because you just plays the next episode. And you lose that conjunction that something gets released for you to watch it over time and get excited about.
Sounds like you're the opposite. That you like watching one thing and not. Sounds like you prefer not having the choice. You like having that one thing open to you and then waiting instead of having more options and then having your own choice. It sounds like you don't like choice as much as having one option.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I feel like something's designed to be watched or listened to in a certain way. Like, I'm the kind of person that I don't want to just listen to one song, I want to listen to an album. And I don't want to listen to it on shuffle, I want to listen in order, because the person that made that album is sat there for hours and put those songs in a particular order because they want you to go on a journey. And I think a show's the same. They want you to go on a journey. They don't want you to just mindlessly just watch one after another and not fully enjoy it. If a show's already been released, like it's already been on and it's old, that's fine. Like, binge watch it. But I would like to see more shows come out weekly to build back that excitement that shows are important. Because I think we are so spoiled for so many things now that we're just like, I want to quickly smash through this so I can watch this and I can watch this, and we don't actually appreciate how good a show is. Like, if Disney is going to, or Netflix is going to make a show with a budget of like $100 million, it deserves more than you spending one day binge watching the whole thing. Like, it deserves it. Like, they've invested the time.
But do people have time to watch it not in 1 or 2 or 3 sittings? Do people have time to, because people's time go into it as well?
Yeah, well, I guess if something comes out weekly, that is the most practical use of time. If you don't have enough time to watch one episode, then you don't have enough time to watch TV. Like, that is the minimum amount of time required. And you might break an episode up into 2 sittings, that's fine. But yeah, if you can't even fit in one episode, then you don't really have time to watch shows. So, I don't know. I think there's an excitement. Like, what would you rather? Would you rather a new Marvel movie released every month for the next 12 months? Or would you rather 12 movies released tomorrow?
I already like their 4-movie policy a year. I think it's a good way to do it, but movies are different to TV shows.
But there's obviously a reason why they picked that formula. They've worked out that any more is saturation, any less people lose interest. It's just the right amount. And I think they need to bring that back into shows. Because what if Disney or any streaming service got to a point where they had enough of good original series where they could release 4 shows at once with 1 episode a week, and one might come out on Friday, one might come out on Tuesday, one might come out on Thursday, one comes out on a Sunday, and your week is dictated by those shows and you look forward to it. You don't have to watch it then. But if you're really keen, you're like, 6 o'clock Friday night, this show comes out. Because I know I did that I do that. I didn't do it with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I watched them on Sundays. But the 3 shows that I'm watching now on Disney that come out on a Friday, I start the first one at 6 o'clock, like when it first comes out, and then I just watch one. I watch one show, then I watch an episode of the next one, and then I watch an episode of the next one.
So you're basically binging...
Well, 3 different shows I'm binging. Well, they're not... So I'm binge watching, but I'm not binge watching a series, so that's very different. That's because I know they've came out this week. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to next week because it's mid-season one show, the end of the series in another, and it's episode 2 of the next show that just came out. Like, I'm looking forward to it. And you know what? When they finish, I'm pretty certain that's pretty much the exact time Loki starts. So they've got me looking forward to something every Friday for the whole year. So I think it's great. I feel value for money. You pay $9 a month and I'm getting something new to watch every Friday. If you break that down over 4 episodes a month, I'm paying less than $2.50 an episode for something I'm excited to. Plus for the opportunity to binge watch any other show that's already on there. Netflix, I don't feel like I'm getting value for money because it's all there, but I don't really care. I'm not interested about watching it because there's too much there. Where some people can say that they think that having lots to choose from is better value for money, which if you break it down, it is, but mentally for me, value for money is based upon not options, it's based on how much I use it. And I know that Disney is getting watched for a minimum of 3 hours every week, and I think I'm getting my $9 worth per month for that.
But in your mind, don't you go, oh, I'm watching this one a little bit too much, I need to spread my time and kind of see what the other services have to offer instead of going, yes, I like these shows, but if you wait 1 week, you have 2 to watch instead of going, oh, I'm just going to neglect the other services even though all of them have good shows?
Well, maybe that's what Disney are doing well. Maybe because they're different, they're getting my attention.
Guess so.
Again, maybe it's not a matter of getting you to subscribe longer. It's because they're cheaper as well. So the whole subscription idea, they are cheaper than Netflix. They are getting my attention because I'm like, oh, something new's coming out on Disney. Where there's something new that comes to Netflix every day, but I don't know about it. Like it doesn't seem that important. They go, oh, we've added this new show, Jupiter Legacy. Oh, here's the whole series. Go ahead and watch it. And I'm like, oh, it's already there. I'll get around to it. They go, oh, there's a new show coming out on Disney. First episode this Friday. I go, oh, well, it's only 1 episode. I'll give it a go. And then you watch it and you go, oh, this is pretty good. Oh, there's another episode next week. And then they suck you in a good way.
Sounds like you prefer doing basically the same thing as binging, but you prefer binging more shows instead of focusing on the one show, finishing it, and then you like waiting. So you're basically doing the same thing, but you're doing it on the one platform. Well, I guess is smart, but why haven't you done the same thing with The Mandalorian?
I watched a couple episodes and didn't like it.
Wow.
It just didn't interest me. But I think you do the same as well. If you're watching a show and you want to watch, you can only watch so many shows at once if you're binging it. So you go, oh, I'm going to finish this series. So you finish season 1, season 2, season 3, and then you're up to date or it's finished. Then you go, oh, when I finish that, I'm going to watch this show. And you create this never-ending list of shows that when you finish one, you'll start the next. But if every show came out weekly, you can watch 20 different shows at once because you've only got to watch 1 episode a week at a time. Where you go, if I say, oh, I want you to watch How I Met Your Mother, I want you to watch The Office, and I want you to watch Superstore, you're not going to watch all 3 at once. You're going to try and finish one, which is going to take you months, and then you're going to watch the next one. It's going to take you a few more months, and the other. Where if we released 1 episode or all 3 of those shows a week, you could go, I'm going to watch that one on Monday, I'm going to watch that one on Tuesday, I'm going to watch that one on Wednesday, and then the next week you do it again, and you're getting to watch more shows, but you don't feel overwhelmed and think, I've got to finish 10 seasons of Friends before I can start watching Frasier.
But wouldn't I get confused with the storyline? Would be like, oh, I got to watch these characters with what their story arcs are, and then I got to watch these characters and their story
Provided
arcs.
you get the recap, then you shouldn't get confused.
What happens if I don't?
Well, I guess they need to make sure you get a recap.
What happens if they don't?
Well,
is it on me to go, oh, I got to remember what happened 4 weeks?
Well, then you don't overwhelm yourself with too many shows. You wouldn't take on 10 shows, but I can watch 3 shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it's something we've always done in life. Like, before streaming services and you couldn't watch shows on demand, you had to tape a show or you had to watch it when it got released weekly. So I'm sure there would have been shows you used to watch growing up that came out on certain nights of the week on free-to-air TV, and you would have looked forward to watching it. And if you missed it, you would have had to find a way to catch up on it, or you would have watched several shows that got released weekly, and you had to remember them. That's just how it is. I guess you've got to, if you like a show enough, you will memorize it. Where, yes, binging, you can follow the story arcs closely, but it needs to be a show that's already been released, lots of seasons, and be bingeable. There's certain shows that are too hard to binge because they're too long or they're mentally draining.
Mentally draining. So watching a show can be mentally draining.
If a show is really complex and has lots of things going on, and then let's say they're an hour-long episode, you find it hard to watch several hours in a row. You might only be able to fit in once a week. If it's a 20-minute comedy, you could watch that never-ending because the storyline doesn't necessarily follow on sometimes. They're just random individual episodes. So there's things that are more bingeable as well.
I guess the main thing is that you're someone that prefers to have a rooted schedule that you go, I'm going to watch 3 shows and kind of one main storyline, where I'm someone that I like a contained storyline that I can go, I can pace myself, I don't have to rush through it and then be like, oh, I got to wait a week and then be like... Sometimes I feel like when Disney Plus release it weekly, it's like, oh, you know, it's nice, but sometimes it's like, well, it kind of feels forced sometimes. Sometimes I wish 2 episodes would be nice, wouldn't it? For certain shows.
Yeah, it's a weird formula, though, to do 2 episodes, I guess. Well, in that case, wouldn't you just make 1 episode twice as long? Like, what's the point? What's the point of splitting the episode then if you're going to release 2 at once? It would just be a weird thing to do. They could release maybe 2 episodes a week on different nights. That might make a bit more sense.
Because what happens if each episode ends on a cliffhanger and then it's like, you're going to do this sort of formula?
Well, you think about it. For shows that come out that are bingeable, is there any... If they... Like Netflix, when they release a show, 10 episodes at once, they get released. What is the point of having a cliffhanger then?
The ending's always going to be a cliffhanger.
The season should be, what's the point of having a cliffhanger between episodes if you can just start the next episode in 10 seconds? Like, what? Why even end the episode then? Like, there's no point having... What's in case someone goes... Oh, I'm going to turn this off. I can't watch it. I've got to go to bed, and like they're waiting till the next day. Like it's a forced cliffhanger because people wouldn't do that. They go, I need to know what happens. I better watch the next episode.
That's why they do it, to keep you binging basically. But that's why I think it's better pacing yourself, because you could argue even that weekly and binging both have their good and positive things, because binging, you finish it, you go, that was satisfying, but weekly also has its positives of, you know, you do get to look forward to it, but also binging can be quite unhealthy if you do it too much. But I think weekly can become unhealthy, because in your mind you can be like, oh, gotta wait for it.
I think the negatives of weekly is that you can
forget.
Well, I don't know about forgetting's a different thing. That's a personal thing, but you could. The gaps between episodes, waiting weekly, you could, if you didn't have anything else to watch, it could be boring. Basically, you go, I've got nothing else to watch. If there was nothing, if let's say everything that's already been released got deleted, and you could only watch things that got released in future weekly, you would have gaps in your week where you're like, I'm waiting for the next episode. That could be seen as a negative. But luckily we have bingeable shows to fill the gaps, or shows that have already been released that you can watch at your own leisure. So you can fill the gaps with both. There's a need for both. And then I guess another negative is, if you're bored, you're waiting for it to come out. And then obviously then there's if you have to continue to subscribe, you're paying for something.
What happens if the episode sucks and you go, I have to wait for another week for this garbage?
Well, that's just reality. I guess not every episode's going to be good. In the world, you need both. My point is, I am excited. I like weekly shows. I'm not saying I don't binge watch. I'm not saying I don't like binge watching. I am loving the fact that shows are coming out weekly, though, because I'm not overwhelmed. With too much to look forward. I have something to look forward to. I don't feel the need to sit there and binge it so I don't get behind and risk spoilers. I can plan around it. And you know what? Sometimes you get busy and you don't actually get to watch it. And then the next week you get the nice treat of getting to watch 2 episodes in a row. Sometimes that does happen. But I don't forget shows. I get to watch more. I feel like it's spread out. I feel like I get more value for money. Because there's a never-ending lot of shows that come out on Netflix that are dumped all the episodes at once, and they just fall by the wayside, and I personally don't get to watching them. But the fact that new streaming services like Disney are bringing out fewer shows over a longer period is making me feel like I can watch them, where I feel so overwhelmed every time I turn on Netflix and look at my queue, because I just keep adding new things, and I will never, ever, that will never be empty. At the moment, I look at my Disney, and I've watched everything I wanted to watch, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Can I just make a suggestion? Yeah. And I think this is what the problem is.
Yeah.
Your mindset is that you go, oh my God, and I admit this, Netflix has a problem of having too much. But I think what you need to do is go, what you're doing is that Disney Plus, and this is actually a problem of weekly as well. It's like, I got things to look forward to, but you're neglecting other things as well. What you need to do, and this is the positives with, like I said, having more options and going, you can pluck one Netflix show and go, I'll watch one of the Netflix shows weekly and add that to your schedule, so you go, you can compare how Netflix do it weekly as well. Like, that's the thing that positive about Netflix, is that they give you the option to do what you want with the show, what Disney Plus doesn't. It's basically, we'll do what we want to do and not give the customer what they want. It's like, we'll give you this thing that you want to watch, and you got to watch it on our time.
I don't know if they're doing it. I wouldn't say that's bad or evil of them, or they're doing it to upset you. They're
doing it because you would unsubscribe once you finish, but because they got awesome shows that are coming up, it's like, ooh, if you want to keep watching, we're gonna do it weekly. It's very smart what they're doing.
Yeah, but they're not expensive though, so to keep you on there anyway. I guess you can argue and say that they do it because of lack of content. I don't think they lack content. Actually, they probably have more content than Netflix, to be honest. It's just they have more newer content, and I think they do it weekly because, yes, they want you. It is about subscription, and they want YouTubers to talk about it. They want people to talk about it. But I just think it's a good thing. I think coming out weekly, it makes me want to watch it. It gives me... I could definitely do the same thing for shows that come out on Netflix, but it's very unlikely that someone would do that, because when you've got the option to watch the next episode, you will, because it's there. If you've got the time, why wouldn't you? I also don't watch nearly as much streaming services you do. I probably watch 3 hours of TV a week, so that fits in perfectly. Something that comes out weekly, I get 3 hours of new shows that I look forward to. If I had more time, I would, but by them coming out weekly, I don't neglect other things. So I play my PlayStation, I play my guitar, I go to sport, I hang out with family. I fill those gaps that the weekly shows with other things opposed to watching a screen. So I think it's got to do with personal factors. I enjoy weekly because it forces me to multitask and do other things in life besides binging, where I think things that come out in one hit, that can come your life. Your life can be like, well, I'm just going to watch 6 hours of Netflix tonight, and the next night you just keep doing it, where I go, I don't have any shows that come out to Friday. I'm going to play guitar tonight. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go to the gym. So maybe I could say it's a lifestyle thing. It forces me to take on more hobbies, to fill my time with something other than binging shows that I possibly don't care about, but they're just there. Because I'm sure you've watched shows just because they're there and you want to see what they like. Like, you probably weren't excited about them, but it doesn't mean you didn't like them, but they weren't something you look forward to, where I tactically only watch shows that I know I'm looking forward to, not just because someone said to watch it or just because it happens to be there. I'm not watching TV for the sake of watching it. I'm tactically only watching the things that I'm looking forward to. It's like having a favourite sporting team and only watching them opposed to watching every game of footy. I'm only watching the ones I want to watch.
So you're saying that people that binge watch too much because everything gets released when, like I said, they can choose how many episodes they up to. Like, it's all about choice. Like you said, you choose how you want to watch, and I choose what I want to watch. So we're basically arguing the same thing.
Yeah, I guess it's a time thing. If someone has more time, binging will suit them because they go, oh well, I'm here, I want to watch something, I'll keep watching it. Where someone that's short for time, the weekly release is great because you go, cool, I'll just watch this, don't have anything to watch for another week. So it's a matter of lifestyle. I would never say no to my favourite show getting released in one hit, but after watching it, I know I always feel upset because I go, oh, it's finished now. Where I just think weekly, it just drags that excitement out a little bit longer. Like, and that's all I want. I just want the excitement for longer.
But do you want the show to be dragged out for the sake of it, so you can enjoy it, when it might be better to, I guess, enjoy that high and then go process it instead of, oh, I want more, oh, it's gonna finish, and then go, oh, now I gotta wait. I can do weekly, I can do what I want, I can get on with my life.
I don't really know what the question is, but I think
The question is that, do you want things to go on for longer because in your mind you're like, oh, I like the high of wanting things to keep on going?
No, I think that I enjoy dragging. If it's something you like, you want it to last longer. Like, do you want your favourite video game to be a short game or a long game? You want something to drag out. Like, there's a reason why they bring out DLCs like later on, because they want you to keep playing the game. They want you to come back to the game. Like, and some people could. That's another debate. People would say, "Oh, is DLCs fair because you bought the game and they keep adding more stuff to it, so then you spend more money. Where someone could go, oh, this is so good, they've made the game, they keep adding more stuff to it. Where it's like, well, they could have given it to you in the beginning. They're purposely not giving it to you because they want you to spend more money. But it depends on which way you look at it. You could look at weekly and go, oh, these guys are ripping me off. They're bringing it out every week, so I have to keep subscribing. Or you could go, oh, this is so good, I get something new every week. It's the same thing, it just depends which way you look at it. Where I'm on the side of where I look at it and go, how good's this? I get a new show every week. How good's this? Such good value for money. Or you look at it and go, what a rip-off. They're making me subscribe for a whole extra month. And it's the same thing, it's just a matter of the way you look at it.
I'm subscribed for 12 months.
Yeah. And that was because it was a better value.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. And then that goes to show the mindset that you're looking to save money and you believed that it was going to be a good enough streaming service that you were willing to pay for 12 months in advance. So you should be thankful that they bring out something weekly because you're getting your value for money.
But I'm not watching as much as you. I'm only watching the Bad Batch at the moment.
But if they released all your shows that came out this year that you've liked, every episode of all the shows, if they released it the first week you signed up and you binge watched it, wouldn't you feel ripped off for the next 11 months? You'd go, why did I pay for 12 months of this crap? Where now you're getting something new constantly. Like spread out.
Well, it depends what you like. Like, I might give a go what sporting shows they basically like, but, might like it, might not like it. That's why, and that's the other thing, that's why it's good to have more episodes to watch, because if you just go, oh, I'll give one episode a go, and if it's not good in your opinion, then you got to wait more. It's like, oh, I might forget about this show. But if you have more episodes to give a sample size, you can go, oh, I'll watch episode 2. Oh, it's getting better, I'll watch episode 3. At the halfway point, oh, do I do a pros or cons list?
I think it comes back to the quality of show. I think Disney backed that their shows are good enough that you'll watch one episode and want to watch the next. They don't need to go, here's 5 and see if you like it. They'll go, no, you'll be back next week. And then because there's things released weekly, it allows you to finish the shows that come out weekly that you've been looking forward to and go, oh, maybe I might look at what else is on here.
But are you watching every show that's coming out weekly on Disney Plus?
I think I am. Except for the Bad Batch, but that's because I'm not interested in it. I'm watching every show on there.
Are you getting your money's worth?
100%. I definitely think I'm getting my money's worth. Where if all your episodes of the Bad Batch came out in one hit, you'd watch them all in a couple of days, and your account would sit there unused. End of the day, you get the same amount of content for the same value of money, but you paid for a year, and I paid for a year. You've watched episodes here and there, and you could binge them, where I feel like I'm getting something every week. I guess it comes back to that whole thing. Do you want 4 Marvel movies a year, one every 3 months, or do you want 4 Marvels given to you on the 1st of January? And it's like, at the end of the day, you get the same amount of movies in a year, but is it better to spread it out or to have them all at once? Like, which would you feel like you'd get more value for money?
Well, like I said, I think movies are completely different to shows, and I prefer 4 in the year because, going to the cinemas is completely different. Most likely you're only going to have time to do it once compared to... It's really, what do you prefer putting your time in? Watching it weekly and then it's like, oh, I got to do it weekly, or putting your time into watching it. You could space it out and watch it in 1 week. You could be like, oh, there's 8 episodes, I can watch 1 each week. Or each day in that week.
But that's still binging. I guess the argument necessarily isn't, is it better to watch all your shows in one hit or to spread it out? The argument is almost, is shows being released weekly exciting versus is it better to get all your shows in one hit and watch them quickly?
I'm saying spacing them out and what's more better or equal or suited to the time for that person.
So again, it's per person. I will still stand by. I think weekly is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
If a show didn't come out weekly, I would not be upset. But when it comes out weekly, I think it's exciting because it gives me something to look forward to. Because if it comes out in one hit, I'm not going to watch it weekly. It's just, why would you? They're all there. You watch them when you feel like, which you say is nice and it's freedom, which is true. But I find it less exciting. That's purely it. I just find it exciting to the anticipation of looking forward to something coming out on a weekly basis, opposed to going, I'm going to choose to watch this on Monday. I'm going to choose to watch this on Tuesday. That doesn't feel exciting because you have choice over it, opposed to going like looking forward to the release date. Like it's same with movies. You count down the release date to when something comes out. Like it's an enjoyable thing to wait for something to come out. I get enjoyment out of looking forward to something, opposed to staggering it at my own choice.
So you're saying you like how the company or the provider basically does its schedule for you, and I'm more arguing I like having the freedom of my own choice, free will, and you prefer having someone else do it for you?
Yeah, you could say them doing it for me.
They are doing it for me.
I just like it not being an option to binge it, because you could just rush through it, and you have your own choice, but
you do.
But it's something nice about the excitement. Like having no control over something is sometimes nice. Would you like to be told what you're going to get for your birthday, or do you like to open up a surprise? I like the element of surprise. I like someone saying, like, delaying it for me. It's not quite the same thing, but I like the idea of, it's not that I want them to pick for me. It's just I'm forced to wait. There's that anticipation. It's like if I'm craving chocolate and there's chocolate in the fridge, you go grab it because it's there. But if they're like, you've got to wait to Easter to get chocolate, you look forward to it more. It's not like I can just go grab this whenever I want. You're like, I can't wait to Easter. I can't wait to get some chocolate. It just makes it more important, because Easter isn't exciting when you eat chocolate every day of the week. It's just another day.
Yeah, Easter is just a day, and it's a controlled day for kids to have chocolate.
But if you weren't allowed chocolate, you'd look forward to Easter. But if you can have chocolate whenever you want, you go, Easter sucks. This is just the same day, same as every other day of the year. So it's nice to sometimes have no control over something.
So you're kind of saying that you like having the choice of having the content. You kind of like someone going, we'll put in the schedule of what we're going to do with the show. You kind of prefer not having your time of when you're going to watch the show. You like leaving up to the service. You
still have choice. You choose whether you want to watch the show or not, and you can choose which day of the week you want to watch it on. They just choose when it gets released and at what time and how often. So you still have control over it. If you like to binge a show, you could wait for the whole series to come out and then watch it all in one hit. But the fact it comes out weekly, I just know that I have 7 days to watch a show, and then I look forward to the next one coming out. It's just a looking forward thing. It's almost like a sporting event. I look forward to every weekend watching my sporting team play. Like, would I rather watch them play every week, or never look at a score and then get given the whole highlights package of the season and every game and go, you can watch it and see if they win the grand final? Like, I want to look forward to each week what's going to happen.
What happens if it's disappointing?
That's just, some things are good, some things are bad. Sport's there's always going to be winners and losers in sport. TV's designed to be entertaining, so it wouldn't be a very good show if they purposely made it disappointing.
What happens if the ending to the show is bad, because it's like you had all the waiting and then it's like the ending's bad and it's like, could have been, pacing could have been pacing over the week.
Well,
and you realise that.
I think if something came out once a week for 10 years and then the ending of the series was disappointing, you wouldn't feel like you've wasted as much time as then if you watched 10 seasons in a month and then got disappointed. Because you go, I did so much in this time frame over the last 10 years as it's been released, so opposed to focusing on, I spent 8 hours a day for a month watching 10 seasons of this show only for the ending to be crap. So when it's spaced out, the ending doesn't hurt as much, I don't think, either, if it's a poor ending.
Guess so. What happens if you kind of got to... If all the, planning that you do and all the scheduling, what happens if it all falls apart and then you got to find some more shows?
Well, there's always going to be more shows to choose from. Not every show can be released weekly.
No.
I get excited when a show's good enough to release weekly. I am, for the first time in a long time, excited about something coming out because I don't watch free-to-air TV, so I don't have that excitement where people are going, oh, new episode of Married at First Sight tonight and The Bachelor. Like, I don't watch those shows. I'm not excited about that. I've got so accustomed to just turning on a streaming service, looking at the thousands of shows and going, might watch this today, or I'm midway through this season, I'll finish it, where now for the first time ever I'm looking forward to something. I can't wait for the next episode to come out. Where the flip side, someone could be like, I hate this, I have to wait 7 days for a new episode to come out. It's the same thing, just from a different perspective, and I take the glass half full perspective of, I can't wait for the next week. And I reckon that's why I've been rating these weekly shows higher than shows that come out in one hit, because I've had that chance to be excited about a show, opposed to sometimes it feels like a chore. There's shows where I've 10 seasons long and I've been watching them and being like, I'm halfway through now. I don't even care anymore, but I just need to finish it so I can get to the end and I can move to the next show. Like, it can lose that excitement. Where I loved watching shows as a kid, looking forward to the next week's episode. Watching the OC and going, next Tuesday, 6:30, new episode's coming out. Like, looking forward to that. Going to school, talking to my friends about the episode, last week's episode, and what's going to happen on the next one.
So it's more that high of getting excited for the episode and maintaining that perspective and that high that you kind of crave, and that's that. It sounds like that's why you prefer weekly, because it's more in your mind. You're like, I can't watch a show for the week because you're too busy, and then when you watch your free shows, you're like, I get to watch these shows, and then next week, yeah,
I think it's a mental thing, because it's the same. You get them all in one hit or you get them spread out, but it gets you excited about it. It's like if you go out for dinner, if you got your entree, main, dessert given to you all at once, you'd be like you might still start at the entree, but you're not looking forward to it. But if you get them each one after another, you're like, well, finish the entree, can't wait for my main, and you finish your main, like, I'm looking forward to dessert. It's just mentally our mind likes the idea of and the anticipation, the excitement of, why do you think at the end of movies they do cliffhangers, they do end scene credits? They want you to be excited about the next thing. Where if you have the opportunity to literally press play and watch the next thing, you don't get excited about it. These shows that are so popular on TV, like your reality TV shows, like your Married at First Sight, if they released every episode at once on a streaming service, no one would watch it. Like, it would be so unpopular. But because it comes out every night, or some of them do, there's that opportunity of, I don't want to go to work tomorrow, and everyone's talking about this show, and I didn't watch it, so you watch it. They make you not want to miss out. And I think the weekly thing is this, like with anything on streaming service, it makes you, if it's a good enough show, it makes you not want to miss out. Netflix would also struggle to do it because of the amount of content. If they've got 30 shows, I don't care anymore, but I just need to finish it so I can get to the end and I can move to the next show. Like, it can lose that excitement. Where I loved watching shows as a kid, looking forward to the next week's episode. Watching the OC and going, next Tuesday, 6:30, new episode's coming out. Like, looking forward to that. Going to school, talking to my friends about the episode, last week's episode, and what's going to happen on the next one.
So it's more that high of getting excited for the episode and maintaining that perspective and that high that you kind of crave, and it sounds like that's why you prefer weekly, because it's more in your mind. You're like, I can't watch a show for the week because you're too busy, and then when you watch your free shows, you're like, I get to watch these shows, and then next week,
yeah, I think it's a mental thing, because it's the same. You get them all in one hit or you get them spread out, but it gets you excited about it. It's like if you go out for dinner, if you got your entree, main, dessert given to you all at once, you'd be like you might still start at the entree, but you're not looking forward to it. But if you get them each one after another, you're like, I finished the entree, can't wait for my main, and you finish your main, like, I'm looking forward to dessert. It's just mentally our mind likes the idea of and the anticipation, the excitement of, why do you think at the end of movies they do cliffhangers, they do end scene credits? They want you to be excited about the next thing. Where if you have the opportunity to literally press play and watch the next thing, you don't get excited about it. These shows that are so popular on TV, like your reality TV shows, like your Married at First Sight, if they released every episode at once on a streaming service, no one would watch it. Like, it would be so unpopular. But because it comes out every night, or some of them do, there's that opportunity of, I don't want to go to work tomorrow, and everyone's talking about this show, and I didn't watch it, so you watch it. They make you not want to miss out. And I think the weekly thing is this, like with anything on streaming service, it makes you, if it's a good enough show, it makes you not want to miss out. Netflix would also struggle to do it because of the amount of content.
I guess my final thoughts would be, I think there's plenty of good binging shows that you can plan out and that you can schedule and still look forward to them because they have great stories and great characters. But I do agree there are worthy weekly shows as well. So there's arguments for both sides, but it's up to the viewers to decide who wins in this case. So hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you like this series. Would like to continue making more videos. Thanks for helping with the discussion.
No worries.
Like and subscribe. Bye bye.